I'm Kelly Carter, and this is Another Act. Zoe, welcome to the show. It's been so long. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain, but let's start here and let's just call it what it is. You are the sci-fi queen, undisputed queen. Why do you think this genre has worked so well for you as an actor over the course of your career?
It's not something I've had to think about. It's something that I feel. I have a natural affinity for science fiction that was passed down to me by my mother, who, since I was very young, she meddled with a lot of, well, what if about the unknown? What's out there? And just planted that seed of curiosity from a very futuristic standpoint, not knowing that by putting us in the future, she was making it permissible for her daughters of color to be able to time travel freely and not feel sort of, chained down to certain, I guess, depictions of self due to our, unfortunate history. So I like I said before, it's not something that was thought out. It was just something that was followed through the heart.
Gosh, I love that answer. Thank you for sharing that. It's been nearly 13 years since the original Avatar was released. Take me back. What made you say yes initially? What was it about that project?
Say yes, how could you say no? Let's point out some heroines, some female heroes that were impactful. Very few, I have to say, and I can name you two when I was a child, and that was Sarah Connor, and also it was Ellen Ripley. And even though it was a character that wasn't created by this filmmaker, it was certainly evolved by him. And it's James Cameron. He, as a filmmaker, he walks the talk, I have to say. He's not just somebody that, as a man, that is a believer and a champion for women. He writes stories that are not just colorblind, they're also gender bending. And it's the kind of character that whoever is cut out for it will win this character. And I just feel really special that I got his attention, that he really felt that whatever it is that I was brewing and I had to contribute was substantial enough to be a part of his vision. And that means a lot for me as an artist. And then obviously all the other hyphenations that compose myself.
Yeah, you revisit characters a lot in this sci-fi world. What's that process like for you to go back and rebuild?
It's different every process. I do believe that I've had a unique experience on Star Trek than from Guardians of the Galaxy, then from Avatar. And they all stand alone in their own place, and they're very special to my heart, and they meant something very, very specific in my life. Avatar holds the #1 spot for so many obvious reasons. Jim was the trailblazer that did see me. And he does create a sort of sandbox kind of environment where he is so confident in what he is building, and he is so confident in the vision that he is designing, that his collaboration is infinite. So you do feel a part of the creation, and a part of that process that makes you feel you take a certain kind of pride in the completion of a James Cameron project, and you also take a certain kind of permissible ownership in it, and that is something that as an actor, unless I'm creating my own content, it's very difficult to experience.
All right, let's stay there with the idea of creating your own content, because I think one thing that I've really loved about your evolution recently is really seeing what you do behind the camera as a producer. Where were you in your career when you first started thinking about what that might look like?
Yeah, I guess there were specific roles that I thought, well, maybe I'll this is something that I should champion. Maybe this is something that I should have enough confidence in myself, believing that I do have a voice and I do add something to a project that will help with its outreach. And will help with its finances and its attention and everything. And once I surrendered to that reality and I stepped into my own space, like my friend Mara says, you sort of accept the goddess in you, and you take hold of the space that you occupy. There's just a lot that you can facilitate, not just for yourself and in your career, but for others. And so once I understood that, it's becoming something that I'm enjoying. It's very grueling. It's not easy. You know, it's much easier to just walk into someone else's vision for 3 months and then walk out. But to be with to kind of go, I'm going to have a baby and I am going to sell this baby. And if somebody buys this baby, then I'm going to build this baby. Then I'm going to sell this baby. Then I'm going to fight and champion for this baby. And that is a process that is much more grueling. It's a longer process, but it's just as rewarding when you do end up sort of succeeding.
I mean, you obviously are aware of how important the work is, because even something like the Gordita Chronicles, we've never seen a character like that or a family like that on television before, and that feels very significant. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, and you create opportunities for other women. You know, Claudia Fioristeri came to us all with this amazing kind of memoir. You know, it was a revisitation of her life as a child, as an immigrant coming from the Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean descent, and coming into Miami, and with all this confidence because her world was huge, and then all of a sudden realizing that her world was nothing but like a little molecule in the big spectrum of like an American, world, and how she kind of felt lost, and it makes her how she was this Ferris Bueller kind of character that was overly confident, that was super happy, very happy-go-lucky, thought that anything was possible, and I hadn't seen a character like that. But she came in this package that was unconventional. She was gordita, she was a little, she was very round-figured, and she loved herself. And she was confident, and she stood up to bullies, and I thought, my God, like this is somebody that has never been seen before, and yet she is so important, and she's so relatable because we all want to belong, and we all know sometimes that we have so much to contribute, So to follow that success of our first season, and unfortunately our only season, was bittersweet, and I will have to say that we do understand that this market, we are always swimming upstream. We are, will forever sometimes feel like we're in this revolutionary state. But it's also like a renaissance. We are opening doors for ourselves. We are coming together as a community, and we're telling great stories. And we are managing to have big conglomerates sort of take a glance at this and trailblaze with us. So it's not just like a black and white. There's a lot of gray and space in the business of telling stories. And the gray is capitalism. It's business. It's money. And numbers, have to add up in order for big companies that have to respond to investors, whether or not certain investments make sense. So I think that, in order for you to be a successful storyteller, you have to, at some point, understand that one thing is your passion as an artist, and the other thing is your business sense. And these have to live amicably together in one, but you have to know when to switch one on and when to switch the other one off in order for you to be able to accomplish something successfully, but also, stay sane of mind and stay sane of heart as well.
For sure. Well, let me tell you something, girl. You had me absolutely curled up in the fetal position, watching from scratch. What a beautiful story, and what really great work from you. We don't often get to see you in a role like this, and you also produced that. Tell me a little bit about that project. What made you want to be part of this?
Thank you. I mean, it's been 13 years that you guys have only been seeing me, green or blue and in space, as Uhura. This was a story that needed to be told. It's just, you have to meet Tembi Locke, you have to meet Attica, you have to read from scratch. To understand that a story like that was absolutely necessary. We've seen stories where when we deal with the matter at hand, it's always told through the lens of the victim, the person that is in the trenches of fighting for their lives with a big enemy that tends to win a lot, which is cancer. But we're never really shining that light on the caretakers and the toll it takes and what happens after that battle has been lost and another battle resurfaces, which is the battle of surviving that. And Tembi was very honest in her memoir of her life and the aftermath of that moment in her life, and how love still finds its way to be eternal, to be immortal. And I was just so moved. My sisters and we were paralyzed by just how deeply moved we were. And adding ourselves to this project and hopping on this journey was challenging, to say the least. But I'm just happy it's finally here. And at the end of the day, if Tembi, Attica, their family, the Locke family, and everybody at Hello Sunshine and Netflix are happy with what we did, then I can only hope that audiences will receive it as well.
Oh, they're going to, because it's excellent. I wondered how special this one might have been, because you not only produced it yourself, but you produced it alongside your sisters and with Attica and Tembi, who also are sisters. What was that experience like for you guys? I would imagine that had to feel really sisterly.
It was like selling it as sets of sisters, and also like women of color, and being kind of fostered by someone like Reese Witherspoon and Hello Sunshine. Reese is definitely another individual in this business that is putting her money where her mouth is, and she is walking the walk, and championing women across all colors and types of the spectrum. And she it was euphoric. And then once we started to roll up our sleeves and do the work, it was also challenging. I mean, this was a project that emotionally compromised a lot of us, starting with the family. They were being compelled to revisit moments in their lives, and we were there living vicariously through that, and trying to also separate ourselves and bring whatever authentic nature we can, whatever nuanced we were able to contribute as artists. And I have to say that the process was a little grueling and it was challenging, but at the end of the day, like, everybody was just inherently just well intended, and I think you can see it in the work.
You can. Before you go, what's next for you? This fourth quarter is really huge for you, Zoe. You've got all types of movies back in theaters, all types of projects streaming. I probably want you to take a really good vacation, but what's next for you?
The kids are all right. So far, they're not troubled by the fact that I work a lot, and we are a traveling circus, so we're always together as a family that has to be that is artistic and lives on the road. But so to start off by that's sort of like my true north. What's across the horizon? I'm currently shooting a show for Paramount Plus. It's a Taylor Sheridan show that is directed by John Hillcoat, called Lioness, and it's starring Nicole Kidman, myself, and an up-and-coming actress from a show on Netflix called Lock and Key called Liesla, and an array of wonderful actors, and it's called Lioness, and it'll be 8 episodes, and we just started shooting it, and I couldn't be more excited. I am challenged, I am petrified, but it's almost like, you know what, Lord, take the wheel and let's get home, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I keep challenging myself as an artist, and I keep growing, but also that I insist on being aware of everyone around me and seeing how people can benefit from the doors that I'm opening, not just for myself primarily, but for others. And but I'm not putting pressure anymore on myself. It is no longer my duty, but it is my privilege, so I'm accepting the gift, and I'm doing it whenever it's possible, and I'm growing a lot as an artist. So and now that my kids are older, they're wiping their own butts, so they don't need me to helicopter them so much. So I am able to kind of be a little less guilty and take some time to focus on who I am as an artist, and try to go after that.
No, I love that. And the growth is obvious, Zoe. You know how much I love you. Thank you so much for taking time out to chat with me today. I do appreciate it.
Bye.